Hey, if you watch until the end, there is a special surprise waiting for you. Stay tuned, you will not want to miss it.
Imagine going from being one of the world's wealthiest individuals to becoming a symbol of failure in just a few years. That's the story of Eike Batista, the billionaire who promised to transform Brazil into a global powerhouse, but watched his empire crumble like a house of cards. What happened to the man who once stood at the pinnacle of the business world? Was it merely arrogance, or was there something bigger at play? In this video, you'll uncover the mysteries behind Eike Batista's meteoric rise and devastating fall, and how this story can teach incredible lessons for those seeking to grow intelligently and avoid the same mistakes. This isn't just another business story. It's a tale of ambition, power, and the thin line between visionary thinking and delusion. Stay with me to discover how a single man built and lost a fortune worth $34.5 billion, and what we can learn from his extraordinary journey. The meteoric rise of Eike Batista and his ex-empire. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to build an empire worth billions, only to watch it crumble before your eyes? That's exactly what happened with Eike Batista, one of Brazil's most fascinating business figures. From the very beginning, his journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Growing as the son of Eliezer Batista, a respected Vale executive, young Eike breathed the air of big business and bold dreams from an early age. Picture this. At just 29 years old, Eike had already established his first gold mining company in the Amazon, TVX Gold. While most people his age were still figuring out their careers, he was already making waves in the international business scene. It wasn't just luck. It was the perfect blend of ambition, timing, and an almost supernatural ability to spot opportunities where others saw nothing. During the 2000s, Eike seemed absolutely unstoppable. He created the EBX Group with a brilliant concept: interconnected businesses spanning crucial sectors of the Brazilian economy. The X in his company names wasn't just for show. It represented his vision of exponential wealth multiplication. Think Microsoft or Tesla, but with a Brazilian twist and even bigger ambition. Speaking of ambition, his crown jewel was OGX, his oil company. By 2008, Eike had become Brazil's richest man and the 8th wealthiest person globally, with a fortune of $34.5 billion. To put that in perspective, that's like having enough money to buy Instagram when Facebook acquired it 3 times over. The port of Aku was another testament to his grand vision. Imagine a port complex so massive it could rival Singapore's. That's what Eike was building. It wasn't just a port. It was a statement about Brazil's potential to become a global powerhouse. Companies like ExxonMobil were paying attention, and investors worldwide couldn't wait to get a piece of the action. What really set Eike apart wasn't just his business acumen, it was his star power. He was Brazil's answer to Elon Musk before Elon Musk was even a household name. Whether he was gracing magazine covers or appearing on television shows, Eike had this magnetic ability to make people believe in his vision. He wasn't just selling companies, he was selling dreams of a more prosperous Brazil. But behind all the glitz and glamour, there were warning signs that few noticed. His projects often relied more on promises than proven results. Who could doubt someone who had built such an influential empire in record time? The stage was set for either the greatest success story in Brazilian business history or one of its most spectacular falls. Picture yourself being a pioneer in an emerging market. That's exactly what Eike was. His success wasn't built overnight, but rather on 3 unshakable pillars that seemed rock solid at first. Like a master chess player, he knew exactly how to position his pieces on the board of Brazilian business. Think about this. While most entrepreneurs were playing it safe, Eike was diving headfirst into high-risk, high-reward sector. It's like he was playing Monopoly in real life, but instead of buying properties on a board, he was acquiring actual mines, oil fields, and ports. His ambition wasn't just to be wealthy. He wanted to revolutionize Brazil's entire economic landscape. Innovation wasn't just a buzzword for Eike. It was his trademark. Imagine being the first person to bring a Tesla-like mindset to traditional industries in Brazil. He was connecting dots that nobody else could see, creating synergies between natural resources, infrastructure, and logistics. The Aku port, for instance, wasn't just a port. It was meant to be Brazil's answer to Singapore's maritime success. His strategic vision was like having a crystal ball for business opportunity. While others saw Brazil as a challenging market, Ike saw it as a goldmine of possibilities. He attracted global talents like a magnet. Picture having the brightest minds from companies like ExxonMobil wanting to be part of your vision. That's exactly what he achieved. The way Ike built narratives around his projects was pure marketing genius. Each company in his EBX group had its own compelling story. OGX wasn't just about drilling for oil. It was about making Brazil energy independent. MMX wasn't simply mining. It was about putting Brazil on the global minerals. He sold dreams that people eagerly bought into. His timing was impeccable, like a surfer catching the perfect wave. He understood that the market runs on expectations and future promises. For example, when global commodity prices were soaring, he positioned his companies perfectly to ride that wave. He raised billions in capital before even proving results. A masterclass in market timing. Like a high-stakes poker game, every bold move carried its risk. The pressure to deliver on such grandiose promises pushed him to make increasingly daring decisions. But that's another story we'll explore next, as we dive into how these pillars, which seemed so solid, started showing their first cracks. When you think about visionary entrepreneurs, names like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs might come to mind. But in Brazil, Eike Batista wasn't just building companies. He was crafting a narrative of national transformation. Imagine someone promising to turn your country into a global powerhouse through sheer business acumen and determination. That's exactly what Ike did. His crown jewel, OGX, wasn't just another oil company. It was Brazil's ticket to the big leagues. Picture Brazil competing shoulder to shoulder with giants like Saudi Arabia in oil production. That's the scale of Ike's vision. He claimed his oil fields would produce billions of barrels, potentially making Brazil one of the world's largest oil exporters. Companies like ExxonMobil were watching closely, wondering if this Brazilian entrepreneur could really deliver on such ambitious promises. The Port of Aku project was another testament to his grand vision. Think Singapore's port system, but in Brazil. That's what Ike was building. This wasn't just about ships and containers. It was about creating a whole new industrial ecosystem. He envisioned thousands of jobs, international companies setting up shop, and Brazil becoming a logistics powerhouse in South America. Real companies were buying into this vision. Major international corporations were considering moving operations. What made Ike truly special was his ability to sell these dreams. He wasn't just talking to investors. He was inspiring everyday Brazilians. In interviews, he'd explain complex business concepts with such clarity and enthusiasm that even someone with no business background could get excited. It was like watching a master storyteller weave a tale of Brazil's future prosperity. You see, Ike understood something crucial. Brazil's success would be his success. He created an emotional connection with his audience by positioning himself as a patriot first and a businessman second. When he spoke about his project, it wasn't about personal wealth. It was about Brazil's destiny. This resonated deeply with a nation eager to see itself as a global player. However, the weight of these promises was immense. Brazil faced significant structural challenges: corruption, bureaucracy, inadequate infrastructure. But Ike positioned himself as someone who could overcome these obstacles through innovation and creativity. He was like a chess player who claimed to see moves that others couldn't, promising to navigate around Brazil's traditional roadblocks. Yet, as with any big bet, the risks were proportional to the promises. As his companies grew, so did the pressure to deliver concrete results. Many of Ike's promises were based on optimistic projections rather than tangible outcomes. That gap between vision and reality was starting to show, though he continued to insist that Brazil's bright future was just around the corner. Behind every great fall, there's usually a fascinating story of missteps and miscalculation. In Ike's case, his first major mistake was an almost boundless optimism that bordered on delusion. Think about promising to find oil like promising to find gold in your backyard. It's exciting, but you better be absolutely sure it's there. His projections for OGX were like predicting you'll win the lottery multiple times. Technically possible, but highly improbable. The speed at which he expanded his empire was another critical error. Imagine trying to learn 5 different languages simultaneously while also running a marathon. That's essentially what Eike was doing with his various companies. He created LLX Logistics, MMX Mining, and OSX Shipbuilding almost simultaneously, spreading himself too thin. It's like playing chess on multiple boards at once. Even grandmasters struggle. His heavy reliance on external funding proved to be a dangerous game. Picture building a house of cards using borrowed cards. It looks impressive until someone wants their cards back. When investor confidence started to waver, the credit lines that had fueled his empire's growth suddenly dried up. Companies like ExxonMobil, which had once shown interest in partnership, began distancing themselves from his venture. The lack of transparency in his communication with the market was particularly damaging. While Eike was painting pictures of unlimited success in interviews and public appearances, the reality within his companies was far less rosy. It's like promising a 5-star meal but serving fast food. Eventually, people noticed the difference. Projects were delayed, costs were skyrocketing, and results were falling far short of expectation. The macroeconomic scenario didn't help either. When commodity prices, especially oil, started declining, Eike's empire took a massive hit. It's similar to building a beach house without considering the tide. When the wave comes, there's nowhere to hide. The global crisis exposed the structural weaknesses in his business model, which relied heavily on continuous growth and high commodity prices. Trust, once lost, proved impossible to regain. When investors started seeing through the grand promises, the effect was like a run on a bank. Everyone wanted out at the same time. His stock prices plummeted, and his debt became unsustainable. What was once viewed as innovative ambition was now seen as reckless overconfidence. The final blow came from the perfect storm of all these factors combined. Like a chess player who's made too many aggressive moves without proper defense, Eike found himself in an impossible position. His empire's collapse was swift and merciless, but it wasn't the end of his story. The next chapter would reveal how he faced these challenges and attempted to rebuild from the ashes. Imagine going from having your face on magazine covers to becoming the symbol of failure overnight. That's exactly what happened to Eike Batista. The transformation wasn't just about losing money. It was about watching his entire world turn upside down. Think about having to sell your prized possession, like parting with a beloved collection of luxury cars or watching your dream home slip away. The personal toll was immense, affecting not just Eike but his entire family circle. Picture having your children face scrutiny at school or seeing your name become a cautionary tale in business. His relationship with his then-wife, the entrepreneur and model Luma de Oliveira, was also under constant media scrutiny. It's like living in a fishbowl where every personal moment becomes public entertainment. What's fascinating is how Eike handled this dramatic shift in public perception. He went from being Brazil's golden boy to its most controversial figure, yet he maintained a certain resilience. In interview, he started showing a more humble side, quite different from his previous larger-than-life persona. It's like watching a superhero movie where the main character suddenly becomes human. The media transformation was particularly striking. Remember how magazines like Forbes once celebrated it? Now those same publications were analyzing his downfall. Yet Eike showed remarkable composure, often appearing in interviews to discuss his mistakes. It's similar to how tech giants like Steve Jobs handled setbacks, with a mix of humility and determination. One of the most intriguing aspects was his ability to maintain connections even after his fall. While many former associates distanced themselves, some stood by him. Think about it like a friendship test. You really know who your true friends are when things go south. Companies like ExxonMobil, which once eagerly sought partnerships, now carefully managed their distance from his name. Despite everything, Eike never completely lost his entrepreneurial spirit. Even when facing legal troubles and public scrutiny, he continued to look for new opportunities. It's like watching a chess player who's lost their queen but keeps playing, looking for ways to turn the game around. He started focusing on smaller ventures, showing that adaptability is key to survival. The way he handled criticism became a study in resilience. Instead of hiding from the public eye, he chose to face it head-on. He gave interviews, attended events, and continued to share his views on business and economics. It's similar to how modern CEOs like Mark Zuckerberg handle crises, staying visible while acknowledging mistakes and promising to learn from them. You know that saying, learn from other people's mistakes? Well, Eike Batista's story is like a masterclass in business. Think about it. Here's someone who built an empire worth billions and lost it all. It's not just about money. It's about understanding how success and failure work in the real world. First up, let's talk about the danger of overpromising. You know how social media influencers sometimes exaggerate their lifestyle. Ike did something similar but with billion-dollar projects. It's like promising to run a marathon when you've never even jogged around the block. Companies like ExxonMobil were initially impressed by his vision, but when reality didn't match the hype, everything came crashing down. Here's something fascinating about transparency in business. It's like trust in a relation. Once broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. Ike's story teaches us that honesty, even when it's not pretty, is always the best policy. For example, when his oil company OGX started having problems, being upfront about the challenges might have helped maintain investor confidence longer. The importance of focus can't be overstated. Ike tried to be everything to everyone. Mining, oil, logistics, you name it. It's like trying to learn piano, guitar, drums, and violin all at once. Even Mozart would struggle with that. Modern successful companies like Tesla understand this. They started with one thing, electric cars, and perfected it before expanding. His resilience is something we can all learn from. Even after losing everything, Ike kept pushing forward. Think about famous comebacks like Apple in the late 1990s. It's not about never falling, but about how you get back up. His determination to rebuild, despite all odds, shows that failure doesn't have to be final. One of the most valuable lessons is about sustainable growth. Ike's empire was like a beautiful sandcastle built too close to the water. Impressive but ultimately unsustainable. Smart entrepreneurs today focus on building solid foundation, like how Amazon spent years reinvesting profits before becoming profitable. The story also teaches us about the danger of hero worship in business. We often want to believe in magical success stories, but real, lasting success usually comes from solid planning, ethical practices, and consistent execution. Just look at companies like Microsoft. Their success wasn't overnight. It was built steadily over decades. The incredible journey of Eike Batista serves as a powerful reminder that in the world of business, success and failure often walk hand in hand. From his meteoric rise to becoming Brazil's richest man to his dramatic fall, his story teaches us invaluable lessons about ambition, transparency, and the delicate balance between dreaming big and staying grounded. As we've seen throughout this video, Ike's legacy is complex, a testament to both human potential and the dangers of unchecked ambition. His story continues to inspire discussions and debates, reminding us that the greatest lessons often come from the most dramatic falls. But this fascinating story is just one of many we explore on this channel. If you've found value in understanding the rise and fall of one of Brazil's most controversial business figures, you won't want to miss our upcoming content. We dive deep into similar stories of triumph, failure, and everything in between, always extracting powerful lessons that you can apply to your own journey. Don't forget to hit that like button if this story resonated with you, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating business narrative. Turn on notifications to stay updated on our latest uploads. Together, let's continue exploring the remarkable stories that shape our understanding of success, failure, and resilience in the business world. Remember, in the end, it's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from others' experiences to build our own path to success. See you in our next video.